let me give you some hints about how to complete this assignment that involves looking at how insurance companies make money. So, the idea, first of all, it's important to read the setup here in question number 1. The random variable x that we're looking at is the amount that this company earns on the policy that they are selling to this 21-year-old male. So the amount that they earn is the $250 they collect for the year, but you also have to take away the $100,000 that they must pay if the insured dies. So look, here are the different ages. For the 21-year-old, understand the likelihood of death is quite small for this 21-year-old, but think of profit as earnings. If that 21-year-old were to die, they're bringing in $250, but they have to pay out $100,000. So their, if you will, earnings are negative $99,750, the difference between the $250 and the $100,000. Now, if that person is 22 years old when they die, they have paid $250 to the insurance company twice. They pay $250 per year. So that total $500 is what the insurance company has brought in, but in the event of death, which is again unlikely, in the event of death, the insurance company has to pay out the $100,000. So the difference between the total $500 that's been paid in over the 2 years and the $100,000 that has to be paid out, right here then, this is the profit or the earnings of negative $99,500. Notice all of these are negative because there is a possibility that in any of these 5 years, the insurance company may have to pay out the $100,000 in the event that the 21-year-old dies, or that in the event that the 21-year-old dies at any point in time during these 5 years. But now understand, after the 5 years, the policy is gone. The individual is no longer insured, but the insurance company gets to keep all $250, which it collected every year. So it collected $250 5 times. That's $1,250 that the insurance company gets to keep free and clear, because the 21-year-old male, when they purchased the insurance 5 years ago, they are no longer insured. That insurance was only for 5 years. So there is no chance that the insurance company will have to pay out $100,000 anymore. They get to keep the entire $1,250. So here are the different outcomes. Here are the different amounts of earnings. Notice 5 of them are negative. The 6th one is positive. So it's important that you read the setup also to make sure that you actually start the question. You have to find the missing probability in this table. The missing probability is right here. So understand, this is a probability distribution, so all of these 6 probabilities need to add up to something special. So you can use these 5 probabilities and that sum that you should know in order to find this 6th probability. So in order to find the expected value for the earnings and the variance for the earnings and the standard deviation for the earnings, you want to use your program. So in that program, you should put these profit or these earning values into list 1, and the probabilities you should put into list 2, and then you can run your program to quickly get these values. Of course, we're dealing with money, so the expected value should be rounded to the nearest penny. This is actually squared dollars, so this standard deviation will then once again be in plain dollars. So for question number 3, it's important to read this question, and the question asks you to use the expected value and the standard deviation. So you need to use the expected value that you calculated in number 2 along with the standard deviation in number 2 to explain why insuring just one 20-year-old male is a pretty risky idea. So you have to use the expected value and the standard deviation. So remember, the expected value gives you a measure of the center. The standard deviation gives you an idea of, quote, typically how far above or below that center or that expected value we might happen to be. If you do that quick calculation, you might get an idea pretty quickly of why this may be a risky proposition. So the idea is insurance companies don't insure just one individual, they insure many individuals. So what I'm going to have you do here is step through actually what the expected earnings would look like and what the variability of those earnings would look like as you progressively insure more and more people. So if you insure two 21-year-olds, call them X and Y, you can calculate the average earnings from those two 21-year-olds policies by looking at the random variable x plus y divided by 2. And we've done something like this before. This is really a linear combination of the two random variables, 0.5x plus 0.5y. So if you turn the handout over, then you'll see that you're going to complete this calculation on the back. So there's a really important word that goes here in order for us to complete the variance and the standard deviation. That's something that you should know. So continuing forward then, all we're doing is working with the mean of x plus y divided by 2, the variance of x plus y divided by 2, and the standard deviation of x plus y divided by 2. So you should be recycling the values that you calculated in number 2 on the front. That's a really important idea. So in question number 5 then, instead of just insuring 2 individuals, we're looking at something very similar where you're insuring now 4 individuals. So we have a linear combination of 4 random variables. So this should look very similar to question number 4. So again, recycling the values from question number 2 on the front, you can find the center for the expected earnings when you're insuring 4 individuals. You can find the variance. You can then calculate the standard deviation. And then question 6 has an important word in it that is comparing. So a complete answer here will compare 2 things. So you should use a comparison term. Greater, less than, higher, smaller, equal. You have to make a phrase or a statement using comparison terms. And you want to compare the expected values and you want to compare the standard deviations from these questions, from question number 2, where I'm insuring 1 individual, from question number 4, where we're insuring 2 individuals, and from question number 5, where we're insuring 4 individuals, you should see a pattern which should help you explain the advantage of insuring many 21-year-old males. Insuring just one would be quite risky. That's why insurance companies, in terms of their business model, they insure lots and lots of people. And to understand that, the idea is that we can combine random variables to get some idea of how the centers and the spread may or may not change as you insure more and more individuals. That's the idea behind this question. Hope this has been helpful.